Sigmund Freud was born in 1856 in Moravia, and his home was in Moravia. During the invasion of Hitler in 1938, Austria forced him to seek asylum in London, where he died in the following years. His career began with several years of brilliant work on anatomy and physiology of the nervous system. He was almost 30 when, after a period of study under Charcot in Paris, his interests first turned to psychology, and after 10 years of clinical work in Vienna, he invented what was to become psychoanalysis. In this video, we are going to understand in brief the theories of Sigmund Freud and how he influenced the field of psychology by his contributions. Sigmund Freud was intellectually gifted from his birth, as he was fond of reading and read many plays of Shakespeare from his early childhood. The place where Freud used to live had a major influence of faith, in which saints used faith as a tool in curing the psychological disorders, and because of this reason many people believed in superstitions and traditional notions that psychological disorders are nothing but possession of evil spirits. But as the scientific method was popularized among masses, this was known that the religious doctrines are unable to cure psychological disorders. Once a patient came to Sigmund Freud complaining about her uncontrollable emotional shift or hysteria. Freud used the method of catharsis, in which he used to let the patient open up about their hidden traumas and incidents in which they felt embarrassed, and also promised them that the information provided by them will be kept confidential and they will not be judged. This process of free association helped Freud a lot in studying the unconscious mind of an individual, and he often used hypnosis as a tool to understand the fathoms of the unconscious. Freud also based his theories claiming that sexuality is one of the major reasons because of which man suffers from mental breakdowns and other psychological problems. His work, known as Studies of Hysteria, was one of the major works in which he taught about the causes of hysteria and how hysteria influences the psyche of an individual. He also gave the remedy for the problem of hysteria. Freud's one of the major works was his role in building up the psychoanalysis theory. In this theory, he gave the concept of unconscious mind, in which he told about the complex mental activities within an individual that proceed without his awareness. According to Freud, in the early stages of an individual is sexually attracted to their parent of opposite gender, and this is an unconscious stimuli, and they often see the parent with same gender as a threat towards their love with opposite gender. This is a major reason because of which in early stages of childhood it is highly necessitated for the parents to know about the needs and feelings of a child to control him and not letting him have any psychological fear. Freud divided the mind in three main categories, which were conscious, subconscious and unconscious, and according to Freud the role of conscious mind is the active part of mind, and its role is to actively assess and analyze the world around it. The conscious mind is something we completely know of. The another part of mind is preconscious or subconscious, which we are not aware of, but we can remember it by using our memory power, and last part of mind is the unconscious mind, which consists of desires, deep buried memories and influences behavior of an individual. The unconscious mind affects the behavior of individuals, as traumas from the past are hidden in the unconscious mind, which often changes the behavior of an individual. According to Freud, more than 90% of our decisions are influenced by the unconscious and preconscious mind, as there are various forms of hidden traumas and desires which are suppressed inside a man's unconscious and preconscious. He believed that conscious mind can never explain the reason behind your random thoughts. Freud gave the concept of ID, ego, and superego, which tells that our psyche can be divided into three classifications, in which the ID is responsible for all the unconscious desires of an individual, and the ID can be classified as the main psychic activity responsible for all our desires and motives. The ID consists no moral edifications. Examples of ID are sexual pleasure, food pleasure, and other forms of sensual pleasures. The second part of the psyche is ego, which in itself means self and can be considered as the representative of the outer world to the ID. The third part of the psyche is superego, which contains the ethical components of personality and provides moral standards by which the ego operates. The work of superego is to know whether the ID of an individual is not crossing the moral foundations. Now we are going to talk about the concept of repression, which tells us that when our feelings and desires are repressed, they are expressed through our behavior, and this concept is known as the concept of repression. Process of repression essentially consists in the idea representing a drive being not removed or destroyed, but prevented from becoming conscious. Freud also explained the concept of frustration, in which when a need is blocked, then frustration appears as a response towards this stimulus. The theories of Freud also helped in giving treatment for the problem of neurosis, in which a man feels intense strong feelings of fear and anxiety and also causes intense levels of stress on the psyche of an individual for very small reasons. One of the works of Freud is about the small slips in speech and forgetting of things which can be related to the unconscious psyche. He gave several case studies of people who forgot the names of places, individuals, and things etc. because of the unconscious mind. Oedipus and Electra concept were also concepts given by Freud, in which he claimed that infants who are boys are sexually attracted towards their mothers and women are sexually attracted towards their fathers, because of which they want to establish a family with their fatherly figure. According to Freud, there are psychosexual stages in a life of every individual which influence his behavior and personality. These stages are oral stage, in which an infant takes pleasure through his mouth, and then comes the anal stage, in which a child of age 1 to 3 years takes pleasure from his anal and enjoys the process of toilet. After this stage comes phallic stage, in which a child of age 3 to 6 years, wherein the child's center is upon their genitalia as their erogenous zone. Latency stage is the stage which corresponds to his stage of competence or industry and inferiority. During this stage the child compares himself to others. He also said that our ego and subconscious makes a defense mechanism from external threats and traumas. Freud also had an immense influence on the interpretations of dreams and stated that dreams are the road to the unconscious, where our unconscious mind communicates to us using these symbols, as the unconscious mind is mostly irrational and uses symbols as a way of communication, and also said that dreams communicate our past traumas and important events of life. In our upcoming videos we are going to talk more about the dream interpretations, but as we go further, Freud also gave the concept of libido, which means our will to live, which is the highest unconscious desire of an individual, which is considered a survival instinct, and also gave the concept of death drive, in which an individual develops self-destructive tendencies after a severe traumatic event. These were the main theories of Freud, and in upcoming videos we are going to discover more about his theories.